Philippines presses ASEAN for binding South China Sea rules. At the 46th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur on May 26, 2025, Philippine President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. urged ASEAN members to accelerate the adoption of a legally binding code of conduct in the South China Sea. He warned that without a firm, enforceable agreement, miscalculations at sea could escalate into open conflict, imperiling regional stability and maritime rights. Key points of Marcos's intervention. Urgency of a binding COC. We underscore the urgent need to accelerate the adoption of a legally binding code of conduct in the South China Sea, Marcos said, emphasizing it as essential for safeguarding maritime rights, promoting stability, and preventing dangerous encounters at sea. Preventing miscalculations. Highlighting recent incidents, such as the Chinese Coast Guard's water cannoning of a Philippine research vessel near Sandy Cay on May 21, Marcos framed the COC as a preventive measure to reduce risks of inadvertent clashes. ASEAN's role. He called on fellow Southeast Asian leaders to move beyond ASEAN's traditionally consensus-based, non-binding approach, arguing it has been too slow to compel major powers to agree to rules that curb aggressive conduct. Historical and political context. 2002, Declaration versus Binding COC. In 2002, ASEAN and China signed a non-binding declaration on the conduct of parties in the South China Sea. Since then, negotiations on a formal code of conduct began in 2013, but have stalled repeatedly over Beijing's insistence on a framework, rather than firm commitments. Stakes for the Philippines. Territorial claims. The Philippines assert sovereignty over features such as Thitu, Pag-asa Island, where Chinese Coast Guard incursions have become more frequent. U.S. alliance. Under the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, the U.S. has expressed support for Manila's right to conduct research and maintain outposts, raising the geopolitical stakes. China's position. Beijing insists any COC remain consistent with the principles of the DIAC and opposes provisions it deems inconsistent with its sovereignty claims. It has resisted binding dispute resolution mechanisms. Stay curious, stay connected. Subscribe now for fresh news update.